Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, those tuning in their online affiliates around the world, thanks to iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. Glad you all could join us as well. We're excited to welcome Nordine Zouareg to our program today. He's not only someone who's been recognized in the world of fitness, but also as a performance coach and author. His newest book is one that I had a chance to get. It came out this year called Inner Fitness, 5 Steps to Overcoming Fear and Anxiety While Building Your Self-Worth. Of course, a lot of us, as we're beginning a new year, we're thinking about becoming our better selves physically, and Nordine does address that in the book, but he spends a lot of time talking about how we have to get out of our own way, be able to face our fears if we really want to reach success. Hopefully you guys will get your own copy and stay connected with Nordine. But Nordine, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Cyrus.
You talk about in the book, one of the things about yourself is you have a genuine fighting spirit, and you actually shared your birth story with us in the book, Nordine. What has it been like for you to look at your own, what you call desire to fight, and how you've been able to share that with people in different aspects of their lives?
Yeah, Cyrus, it really, for me, it started long before I even learned how to fight for myself. You know, watching both my parents moving to France, they immigrated to France, both illiterate Berber from North Africa, seeking medical attention for me. I was diagnosed with rickets. So naturally, they were in a country where it was very hostile, so to speak, to them.
Yeah. And
so watching them fighting, not only for me, but to survive. They had to survive. And when I say fighting, the desire to fight, fighting is not only something you do physically. You know, I think that most of the time we do the fighting emotionally. And to me, seeing that prejudice against my parents and how they had to overcome that and move forward and just move forward. For me, it started then. For me, it started when I listened to my both parents talking about this desire, you know, not only to fight, but desire to live. And that's how it started for me.
And it's something I think that is so important for us to think about. One of the first areas you address in the book, Nordine, the new book, Inner Fitness, is about something that a lot of people have problems with, and that is their self-esteem. And you say this in the book. Most of us are being bombarded by society's requirements to fit a certain image, a certain mold, and adapt to a certain way of life. We are being dictated the way we should be and how we should behave based on self-esteem, which comes from the Latin word, you're going to say, to estimate. And I think what is so interesting is as you talk about the perceptions, Nordine, is that a lot of times we kind of get in our own way with this. How important has it been for you to be comfortable with who you are and to embrace that?
Yeah, you know, when I started lifting weight, you know, in bodybuilding, I was in search of something, a protective shield, so to speak, because I had what we call a low self-esteem, you know, and so I needed something to protect myself. You know, I was craving a protection, and so I built this wall in front of me, a shield, by lifting weight and becoming a Mr. Universe, a Mr. World, this fantastic body, this strong guy lifting enormous amount of weight at the gym. But every time I found myself alone, I looked at the mirror and something else was missing. You see, Cyrus, I wasn't happy, and I was always wondering why that is. Why that is, you know, now I feel that I'm protected, so I brought my low self-esteem to a higher self-esteem, and then I discovered, wow, self-esteem is driven by the outside world, because the proof is that I'm not satisfied spiritually, so to speak. I'm not happy. I am fulfilled, but I'm not happy. There's a big question mark. So what is it that is missing? Then I stumbled upon this self-worth. And that is what took me. I switched my mindset, so to speak, and even my state of being by going from a low level of existence driven by self-esteem to a higher level of existence fueled by self-worth, which is more of a inner thing than self-esteem. And if you want me to define self-esteem versus self-worth, I'd say this to you. Self-esteem can be boosted, it can be boosted at any time, by anyone, anywhere. In other words, you can be sitting at the office and feeling sad or unhappy, feeling sorry for yourself about something, or something someone said to you or did, and someone comes in your office and says, "Wow, Cyrus, you look great. Have you been pumping weight?" And all of a sudden, Cyrus feels, better. All of a sudden, right? Then, 10 minutes later, somebody comes in and looks at you and says, "Cyrus, have you been sleeping fine lately? Because you look like crap." And your self-esteem right away, right then, boom, it's down. So that's the proof to you, my friend, that self-esteem is society-driven thing as opposed to self-worth. That is the value of yourself based on your life, based on not your life situation that I'm talking about. Because you can have a good life situation or crappy life situation, but you have life, you have breath. That is, my friend, self-worth.
Right.
It cannot be taken away from you. You are alive. Your self-worth is gone when you leave this world. You have it always. No one can take it away. You can't even give it away. That is the essence of self-worth. It always stays high. That is the difference between the two.
And I love the way, Nordine, how in the book you write this: "I surrendered to the idea that my body is a strong and beautiful external expression of who I am." And it ties in perfectly with what you just said. It cannot exist without the union, you write, of the other two, mind and spirit. Is that kind of where the idea for inner fitness came from? Because as I mentioned, as the book goes on, you do get into the physical things, what we need to do to take care of ourselves physically. But is that where the idea for this book came from, to be able to make sure that we're getting the inside work done first?
Yes, absolutely, because I'm a living proof that when I started with the outside, the body, and then I had this perfect body, and then question mark, boom. So you're not fulfilled. So what is it? What's going on? Well, my friend, we are 4-part living people. We have 4 aspects of our life that needs to be taken care of. We have 4 aspects of our lives that need to be up at all times, and we cannot allow to deplete all those reservoirs, which is mind or mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of your life. In other words, if you live for the body only, then set yourself up for the disappointment. If you live only for your business, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. You have to create what I call equilibrium. I'm not talking about balance, because there is no such a thing as balance 24/7. We are talking about equilibrium. When you are aware, okay, it's about awareness as well. When you're aware that you need to be taking care of yourself physically, you do something about it. When you are aware that you need to do something about your emotional, then you do something about it. It's about not depleting the 4 aspects of your life, the 4 reservoirs, I call them. When you do that, you get inner conflict, which is the opposite of inner fitness. So inner fitness is about making sure that you're taking care of all aspects of your life.
Such a great point and such a great reminder for us. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Nordine Zouareg to our program today. We're talking to him not only about his new book, Inner Fitness, and why this is so important. As the subtitle says, 5 Steps to Overcoming Fear and Anxiety While Building Your Self-Worth. And you just heard him give such a great example and explanation of the importance of that self-worth versus our self-esteem. So I want to dive more into the book, Nordine, because I think the other thing that really stood out to me, as we're having a conversation like this, is the importance of realizing, too, that we have to keep moving forward. And you even say in the book, and I love the way that you express this, you said this when it comes to negative thoughts. I must admit that it isn't easy to eliminate these negative thoughts as a result from many years of conditioning. But when you put in the effort to do so, you can finally experience freedom. And you talked about some of the clients you've worked on and being able to help with this. Why is this something that plagues us so much? And you do address social media in this mix as well about the impact it can have. But why is it so important for us to make sure that we're eliminating that negativity as we're trying to build our inner fitness?
Yes, great point, Cyrus, great point. We are driven, like I said earlier, by society and by what's going on around us. There are triggers every single day that are triggering our senses. And when we reside in what I call a fear state of mind, our behavior changes towards the worse. And let me explain that to you. If you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you tune in to your phone, to the news, to everything else. It's a natural ability for us, for our brain, to tune into the negative right away. But you must be able and aware that this is not conducive to your health and well-being. So you switch and you just move from a fear mindset or fear state of mind to a love state of being. So it is important that you pay attention to what's going inside of you, meaning the origin of your thoughts. What are you thinking? If you are feeling bad, Cyrus, I always say, there are not 1 million ways to feel, but there are 2 ways to feel. You either feel good or you either feel bad. That's it. There's no in between. You either feel good or bad, right? So if you're feeling bad, you have to take the courage to go back to the initial thought, go back to your head, and look at what's going on there, okay? Then you change it. Because what you think and get involved with, if you think and you get emotion involved with your thought, you are going to create what we call an action. And the action is going to be either good or bad based on your original thought. So we are bombarded. But that's when we are in the past, living in the past or the future. How many people do you know that are fully living their lives in the present moment? Meaning they're not spending 100% of their time in the past or the future, never being able to live in the now. I like this quote by Alan Watts, and I'm going to paraphrase him. And he says, no valid plan for the future for those who don't have the ability to live in the now. You understand?
Right.
So that is what I mean by living in that inner conflict zone where reality is no longer accessible. And so what is reality? Reality is here in the now. I mentioned in the book that your body has never been anywhere else but in the now.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, where your body cannot be in the future or in the past. It's here and now. Only your mind does. Your mind wants to go in places. It wants. And when it gets, it wants more, and you never live here in reality.
Such an important thing, and I think it's something that you've been able to realize for yourself, as we're seeing in this conversation, Nordine, but also share with your clients. What has that been like? I mean, you mentioned, of course, your life in the spotlight in the fitness arena, but what has it been like for you now as a coach to be able to help people to remove these blocks and barriers in their lives and also get to a place where they're able to be their best selves, both physically, emotionally, and also spiritually?
Yes. Switching from the body obsession to a more of a whole being coaching. When I say whole being coaching, you're not a trainer who is training someone and counting reps. You're not someone who's just listening. You're not, you are all of that. So you address your clients only when they are actually giving you the solution. I always say, listen to your client until you don't exist. Listen to your client until you don't exist. You're listening. Sooner or later, you'll get the answer to their problems. Meaning, people crave other people to listen to them. Yeah. People crave other people to listen to them, and that's what I do. I listen and listen. Then I take their hand, build a plan, and go there together. Walk the journey together. That's what I love to do.
What is your hope, Nordine, as people are now discovering this book? As I saw you post about it in another video, this book was not something that was written with COVID in mind. Of course, because of timing, it ended up being released as we're kind of coming out of this pandemic. Well, what is your hope now that people can realize about how they can figuratively become unstuck and move forward?
I think, this is going to be an opportunity for all of us to realize that we don't need a lot to be happy. Actually, there are no reason for happiness. There are actually reason or cause of unhappiness. And happiness is something we create. Happiness is something we connect to. My hope that, people are right now, and there have been unusually stuck in that low level of existence, that fear, and that's driving the behaviors to a drastically dangerous zone where their whole behavior changes. Their eating habits change. They're eating bad food. They're not sleeping enough. They're stuck in that fear. And I can understand that, Cyrus. That happens to me too. The idea is to, when you realize that's what's happening to you, you switch. It's like a dance between fear and love all day long. It's a dance between fear all day long. And try not to be given your whole being to triggers outside, the outside environment, news, everything bombarding you, because at the end of the day, my friend, you have a life to live, and you have other people that depend on you. You cannot put your mind somewhere else and create havoc in your life because you believe in this politician or that politician, or you believe that we shouldn't be doing that or should be doing that. I don't have a problem, with that. But instead of being attached, I think that's the word I was looking for. Instead of being attached to all this, just engage with it and know when to disengage. That's it. Don't attach yourself. Engage. Engagement happens when you're in the present moment and and I'm going to say it, you're not attached to the outcome, okay?
Right.
Whatever happens, happens. It is it's not what happens that matters. It is how you react to it that is important.
And I think that's why a book like this and a conversation like this is so important, Nordine. That's why we're glad that we're able to have it with you. Again, everyone, Nordine Zouareg has been our guest. He's discussing his brand new book, and it's one that I think you all can definitely be able to get something from, something that can apply in your own life that you can be able to share with other people. It's called Inner Fitness, 5 Steps to Overcoming Fear and Anxiety while Building Your Self-Worth. I got the Kindle edition, of course, through Amazon.com. You can also get the print edition there as well. I noticed in the video, though, Nordine, you were offering autographed copies, too. So how can they stay connected with you and get an autographed copy of the book?
Yes, they can go on NordineZouareg.com, NordineZouareg.com. That is my website, and they get an autographed copy. The reason I want to do that is because, listen, I was bullied, most of my life. And if I had a Mr. Universe, and I'm not bragging about this, if I had a Mr. Universe who would write a book and sign it to me and write a book about being fully yourself, being a 4-part being, then I would get that. You know what I mean? So It's important to learn. We are all, Cyrus, we are all instruments of the universe to spread the good news or the bad news. I am not that one. I'm not the gossiper. I'm the one that is here to raise consciousness level. And with the inner fitness, you have that ability, you have that opportunity. So yes, I do have autographed copies for whoever is committed to being a full person.
All right. So make sure you guys do visit his website. Nordine, congratulations to you again, and thank you so much for the conversation. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Hey, the pleasure's definitely all mine, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.